Memoirs of a Popular Girl.
When I was a teenager, I was the popular girl at school. You know the one. The girl who everyone wants to be friends with. The girl who is both stylish and smart. The girl who seems to have everything going for her. I was good at sports. I could sing and act. I wasn't nervous when I spoke in front of the class. Nobody bullied me. Looking back on it now, do you know what? I wasn't always happy. Sometimes I was miserable. See, that's the thing about people. It's never apparent what's really going on inside them. They can be like eggs. On the outside, they seem hard, but on the inside, they're all mushy. They can seem happy on the outside, but inside, they can be quite sad. So I'll tell you a secret. I'll confess to you one of my secrets. Whenever I was mean, it was because I was feeling bad myself. I was just passing the pain on, like the time I was mean to Carla McLean. To understand what happened, you have to understand that at home, things weren't hunky-dory. See, my brother had been struck down with a form of cancer called leukemia. The doctors said that it might be fatal, so, of course, my parents were beside themselves with concern. The emotions were like a big swirl inside me. One minute I was worried about him and my family. The next, I told myself everything was going to be okay. I'd go from feeling sad and brittle to feeling calm and hopeful. That sometimes happens a lot when you're faced with something frightening for the first time. At school, however, no one knew about these different feelings. On the surface, I was the same girl I'd always been. Apparently, this is called repression. Let me explain the idea to you. Sometimes when we have challenges or difficulties in life, we don't know how to respond. Rather than face the new and frightening problem, we try to forget it. That's true, don't you think? This is like burying something that you don't want to look at. Imagine you found a terrifying old doll in the attic. You definitely wouldn't want it sitting on your bed every time you went to sleep. You would probably want to hide it away in a drawer, somewhere you wouldn't see it. The problem is that some things you can't repress because you are always reminded of them. They don't stay submerged forever. It's like the creepy doll keeps returning from the drawer and straight back to your bed. So I was pretending to everyone that I was okay, but really I wasn't. And that's when I was mean to Carla. Carla was my opposite. She was quiet and kept to herself most of the time. When she did speak to others, though, she was never mean. Now, usually I wasn't a bully. But one day, Carla was selected to join my friend Lee and me for a cooking day at school. Everyone had to cook something, boys and girls. And at the end, everyone would share what they cooked. We decided to make a pasta sauce. Together, we cut up delicious vegetables, such as broccoli and mushrooms. We fried onion and garlic, added the vegetables, and poured a nice tomato sauce over them. As Lee and I watched the sauce, Carla was given the spaghetti to cook. "Only 5 minutes to go," called out the teacher. We had to finish. The sauce was ready, but Carla had to take the spaghetti from the boiling water. When she poured the noodles into the sieve, they came out in one huge, stuck-together mass. That is definitely not how spaghetti is meant to look. Not at all. That's when I snapped. I looked at Carla and said, "Did you stir the spaghetti when you put it in the water?" "I didn't know you were meant to," she said meekly. "Did you read the instructions on the box?" With each moment, I was getting more and more furious. She stood there, almost trembling and mute. "Who doesn't read instructions? That is so stupid!" I yelled. She looked at me with hurt eyes. "I'm sorry." "Now everything's ruined. Everything is always ruined," I said. Well, needless to say, our spaghetti was a failure. You can't serve just the sauce. It was one of the only times I wasn't successful. I felt like I was a nobody. Nobody congratulated me. Nobody said our sauce was good. Other students made delicious food, but we didn't. That night, I tossed and turned. I couldn't sleep, and I wasn't sure why. All I knew was that I felt terrible. I didn't know why. I knew it wasn't because of the sauce. I knew it wasn't because of my brother either. Slowly, that feeling passed. Not that night, but later. Though if I think about it now, I can still feel that terrible feeling. It's as if I'm back there on that day. I never said sorry to Carla about the mean things I said, even though I did feel guilty. Many years later, I still remember that day. I wondered to myself why I said those mean things. Why was I so cruel? I never really understood until later. I was angry and needed an outlet, but Carla wasn't the source of my anger. Can you guess what I was angry at? Yes, I was angry at the leukemia that threatened my brother. Life felt out of control, and I lashed out at the nearest person. It wasn't a mature thing to do. So that's the thing about people, even popular ones. Each person has his or her own challenges and troubles. While everything might look rosy on the surface, underneath there could lie unhappiness. My brother survived his leukemia, and Carla went on to become a famous doctor. I didn't just repress the experience and move on. No, I never forgot that time. I never forgot that I took my unhappiness and worry out on someone else who didn't deserve it. Whenever I see someone who is mean or a bully, I think to myself, what are they unhappy or angry about? because I know it's not the person they're being mean to. And I make sure I'm as considerate to everyone as I can be. Now I'm a chef running my own cafe. I cook spaghetti every day, and I make sure it's just perfect. When it is, I think of Carla. It becomes my tribute to her.
Discuss. The narrator says that repression is like burying something that you don't want to look at. What does this simile mean?